So good afternoon, everyone, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our
first AGM
first
in person
AGM in person since COVID-19
We
pandemic.
also want to welcome
I
all
also
those
want to
watching
welcome all
via
of those
our
watching via
live
our
stream who
live
can't be here in
stream who
person.
can't be here in person.
So it gives me great pleasure
It
to
gives
be
me great
here
pleasure to be here as the chair of Birmingham Solihull Mental Health Foundation Trust for the first
It's
time,
really lovely
and
to
it's
see
really
you all
lovely to
here.
see you all here.
I'm pleased to have
I'm
been
pleased to have been selected to chair such a great
and I
organisation.
would like to
And I
give
would
a
like
special
to give
welcome
a special
to all our
welcome
governments,
to all our governors, but in
most
particular
recently
those most
appointed,
recently
as this
appointed,
will be their
as this
first
will be their
AGM.
first AGM.
I'll get the necessary
I'll get the
housekeeping out of
necessary
the way,
housekeeping out
first
of
of
the
all.
way, first of
So
all.
we're not expecting
So
a
we're
fire
not
drill for
expecting a
the
fire
next
drill
2
during
hours,
the
but
next
if the
2
alarm
hours,
does
but if the
sound,
alarm does
is
sound,
for real.
it is for
So in
real.
the event that that does
So in the
happen,
event
please
that that
walk
does
through
happen,
the
please walk
exits to my
through the
right hand.
exits to my
To your
right
left,
hand.
you will
To
see
your
the
left, you
fire
will see
escape
the fire
signs,
escape
and do
signs,
assemble in
and
the
do
front
assemble in
car
the
park.
front car
Fire
park.
marshals will be
Fire
in orange
marshals will
vest,
be
they
in
will
orange
direct
vests.
you
They will direct you from there.
Also, the toilets
Also, the
are
toilets
located
are
to my
located
left
to
or
my
right
left
behind
or
them,
right
and
behind
I'll
you.
kindly ask
And I'll
that
kindly
all
ask
mobile
that
phones
all
turn
mobile
off
phones are
or
turned
they're
off
switched
or they're
to
switched
silent.
to silent, please.
So, just thinking about the review of
Thinking about the
22
review of
23,
22 to
started to make
23,
the
we
first
started to
steps
make the first
to
steps
emerge from
to
under the
emerge
COVID
from under the
cloud that
COVID
had been
cloud
hanging
that had
over
been
us
hanging
so
over us
long.
for so long.
We know it's still not
We
going
know
away
it's still not going
completely, but we
away
have
completely, but we
seen
have
teams,
seen
also
teams
groups,
and
being
also
able to come
groups
together
being able
in the
to come
same
together
space
in the same
for the first
space
time
for the first
after such a
time
long period.
after such a long
It's
period.
taken some
It's taken some
readjustments with new
readjustments
normality
with
of
new
days like
normality of
today,
days like
which is
today,
not
which is
possible.
not
And it's
possible.
great that
And it's
they
great
now
that
are.
they now
And
are.
so I'd like to take this
So I'd like
opportunity
to
to
take this
say
opportunity
that
to
the
say
board and the
that the
management
board and the
of the
management
trust
of the
recognise
trust
the amazing
recognise the
dedication,
amazing
courage
dedication,
and
courage
commitment of
and
our
commitment
staff
of our
in
staff
dealing with
in
COVID
dealing with
and its
COVID
aftermath.
and its aftermath.
Let's not forget
Let's
that
not
this
forget
is
that
against the
this is
backdrop
against the
of a cost
backdrop
of living
of a
crisis.
cost of living
So
crisis.
thank you
So
to
thank
each
you
and
to
every
each
one
and
of
every
our
one
staff.
of our staff.
So, including
So,
organizational
including
change, last year
organisational
we
change,
saw
last year
many
we
examples of
saw many
progress
examples of
and
progress
positive
and
developments
positive
made, as
developments
well as
made, as
recognising
well
the
as
areas we
recognising
still
the
need to
areas we
improve
still
on.
need to improve on.
Supporting our staff
Supporting
and their
our staff
well-being
and
so
their
they can
well-being
provide
so they can
excellent
provide
service
excellent
user
patients and
centred
service
care.
user-centred
Has actually
care.
been a
Has
key
actually been
priority
a key
throughout the year,
priority
as well as
throughout the year, as well
celebrating
as
the
celebrating
dedication
the
and
dedication
commitment
and
of our
commitment
staff
of
to
our staff
provide
to
safe
provide
and caring
safe
services
and caring
for our
services
patients,
for our
service
patients,
users,
service users,
carers, and
carers,
volunteers.
and volunteers.
Over the last year,
Over
we
the last
continue
year,
to
we
embed
continue to
the
embed
internal
the
value
internal
community approach
value
to
community
address
approach to
inequality
address
within
inequality
healthcare
within
settings
healthcare
and
settings
workforce
and workforce
settings. Now,
settings.
we have
Now,
ensured
we
that
have
our
ensured that our
organizational and strategic
organisational strategic
priorities have clear
priorities
outcomes
have
and
clear
the approach
outcomes and the
is
approach
evident.
is
Good
evident.
progress has
Good
been made
progress
in
has
addressing
been
social
made in addressing social
inequalities
inequalities
alongside the
alongside
inequalities
the
encountered
inequalities
by our
encountered
colleagues
by our colleagues
valuing
valuing
persons who
persons
experience
who
longer
experience
term
longer
sustained
term
positive change.
sustained positive change.
This work does
This
align
work
well
does
with our
align well with
anti-racism
our
racism agenda
anti-racism
and our progress
agenda and
towards
our
being
progress
an
towards being
anti-racist,
an anti-racist,
anti-discriminatory
anti-discriminatory
organisation.
organisation.
So although we know
So
that we
although we
still have
know that we
much
still
more
have
work
much
to do
more
to
work
get
to
to where we
do
need
to get to where
to
we
be,
need to be.
so I just want to talk
So I just
about
want to talk
the
about
personnel
the
changes
personnel
that took
changes
place
which took
over the
place
past year.
over the past year.
Ganjit,
Ganjit,
Danielle, and Russell,
Danielle,
they
and
just
Russell,
left
they all left
our trust,
our
and I
trust,
wish to
and I
publicly
wish to
thank them for
publicly
all of
thank
their
them for
respective
all of their respective
contributions.
contributions.
I myself became
I
interim
myself
trust chair
became
in
interim
October
trust
of
chair in October of
2022 and
2022
was confirmed
and
in the
was
substantive
confirmed
role
in the
as chair
substantive role
in
as chair
April
in April
2023.
2023.
During my tenure, I'm
During my
pleased to have
tenure, I'm
welcomed
pleased to have welcomed
Claire and Monica
Claire
Shepard
and Monica
to the
Shafak
board
to the
as
board as
non-executive
non-executive
directors.
directives.
Have also been other personnel changes.
Personnel changes.
Some of the grants applied for
Grants
this
were
process,
applied for
the
the
investment
post
medical director,
medical
she was
director.
replaced by the lead
Steve
Steve Wolfson, joined the nurse in October. Looks like to probably find facility for her long service to mental health care in Birmingham. Continuing the personnel changes, we've had Umar Allen, Harper, Dr. Ingram, Wahid, and Leona Tasla join us as governors. I would like to say a warm welcome to each of you. And also Diane King, Stephanie Watson, Maureen Johnson, and Hazel Finch, who led the Council of Governments last week. And I'd like to propose a vote of thanks to those who have led their service and contribution to our trust. So when we talk about the greater responsibilities within our trust and service integration, we've been working closely with partners in the local healthcare system to develop our plans and governance arrangements for the provider collaborative. Our trust is the lead provider, and our partners include organisations such as the care sector, organisation and Birmingham, and some local authorities. Now, our guiding principles are to improve access, to reduce inequality, to improve safety, to enhance value, to achieve better clinical outcomes, and also to reduce demand. And this is a great opportunity to make mental health services the best they can possibly be for the people of Birmingham and Solihull by working more collaboratively than ever before. So it's a huge step forward that will ensure that decisions are made as close to those delivering and also receiving care as possible. So bringing together the right people in the right place to support making improvements to our patients, people and communities in Birmingham and Solihull. So you will be hearing more about this.
Later in this presentation today of our AGM. So development of partnership working within the integrated care system. So as a large mental health care provider embedded in the local health and care landscape, we have wide-ranging, well-established partnerships across Birmingham and Solihull with the Criminal Justice Service, community, acute, primary care, third sector and social care services. All working collaboratively to transform services for the benefit of our population is the norm for us and simply part of what we do. So across the health economy, we have seen partnerships and collaborations working together to face the challenges and tackle them. So I would like to say a big thank you to all of our partners. Partnerships do continue to be a top priority for us at the Trust as we move into the era of the integrated care system. You will hear of the acronym ICS. So an ICS brings together hospital, community and mental health trusts, GPs and other primary care services with local authorities and other care providers to work together. By joining Care Up, the intention is to use collective strength to address the biggest health and care challenges. And ICS's aim to reduce health inequalities within our population, and we are committed to continue to address these inequalities through the successful implementation of our strategy in the next 3 years. So my thank yous. And just before I actually hand over to Rasheen for the next agenda item, I'd like to give a special mention to our governors for their support and counsel. So my thanks to Fahim Houdin, our previous lead governor, who has been working in this trust, been a part of this trust for 20 years. 20 years this year. So it's a great achievement and acknowledgement to mention him today. Yeah, please put your hands together. And I'd also like to mention our current governors, and I'd like to welcome our lead governor, which is John Travers, and also the deputy lead governor, Mushtaq Mirza. And I'd like to thank you both and welcome. I'm going to hand over to Rasheen now.
Whilst we're on a note of thanks, I just want to thank Duncan and Emma for being with us today to ensure that we're providing British Sign Language interpretation for the whole of the AGM. Thank you to them. Thank you too to Phil. It is, as Phil has said, a real pleasure to be able to have this AGM in public, face to face and in person for the first time. It's so lovely to see so many people in the flesh. It's really fantastic to see everyone that's here, as well as knowing that those who aren't here can watch us live online. So welcome everyone online. It will of course be on Connect and on our brand new website, which later for everyone who can't join us today. And I also thank all our colleagues for their continued commitment through the adversities of the last few years that have been thrown at us, and we've never allowed them to get too much in the way. So despite adversity, we continue to make great progress in reinforcing and living our values of compassionate, inclusive and committed. And in doing so, we're making good progress in achieving our strategic objectives. So we've got one vision, we've got 3 values and 4 strategic priorities, which we set ourselves in 2021. So speaking of our strategic priorities, just a reminder that this is our 5-year strategy, and it was developed during 2019 and 2020, and we launched it across the organisation in April 21. As you would expect of us, I hope, the strategy was co-produced. It was co-produced with colleagues, with service users, with carers and with partners. We have 4 strategic objectives and priorities: that of clinical services, ensuring that they are the best that they can be, improving how we support people in the organisation, improving our quality and our safety, and creating sustainability into the future for services. Each of which has a number of strategic aims which demonstrate our particular areas of focus. Every year we agree what we call our annual goals in line with each of those strategic priorities. And I'm going to briefly talk to us a little bit about the progress that we've made in achieving our goals at the close of 22-23. On the slide, you'll see some examples of the goals that we've had during the year. And in each of these priority areas, we set 99 goals for 22-23, of which 28 were classed what we called level 1, so of the highest priority. An example of that is in our clinical services. We set a priority in relation to prevention and early intervention through transformation plans for our community, for children and young people in Solihull, for example, through the work that we've done in making our urgent care transformation programme a priority, and the Birmingham and Solihull Talking Therapies offer, ensuring that we're working in an integrated way in providing that. In people, you can see that our emphasis continues to be on transforming our culture and the experience of all staff, and our aim to be an anti-racist and anti-discriminatory organisation, where LGBTQ+, Black, Asian and ethnic minority colleagues aren't bullied or harassed and have equality of opportunity in their careers. In quality, I pull out the example of improving service user and carer experience through the involvement of service users and their carers in our care planning. In sustainability, I would pull out the theme that we're very much in the front of our mind in this year as well as last year, in balancing our books through delivering plans to make sure that we're being efficient as we possibly can, and having medium-term revenue and capital plans so that we can make sure our buildings and our services are as good as they possibly can be within the resources that we have. In progress in 22-23, I've included some highlights in the slide, but as I said, there were 99 goals in total for 22-23, which was year 2 of our strategy. 28 of those, as I said, were prioritised as level 1, and we report on these in detail at our trust board on a regular basis. I'm really pleased to say that over 86% of these goals were rated as green and therefore fully achieved within the period, or indeed amber at the end of the year, which means that they were where we expected them to be, with some minor things that needed to be done to bring them on track as we moved forward. This achievement is against that backdrop that Phil has already alluded to and that we all really know is real, whereby we had huge pressure on our services, and it's testament to everybody's commitment of everyone. Our strategy is developed with everybody and it's delivered by everybody. So testament to everybody around the commitment that they gave to provide high quality, compassionate, inclusive care, and whilst also driving improvements and looking to transform. The detailed report on where we are on each of the goals is available on our website, and there isn't time here to go through all of these things, but I do hope that this gives you a flavour of what we've been doing in the last year. And I really can't emphasise enough how important it was that everybody got behind the strategy. Everybody made efforts to fulfil our commitments, and we've seen some huge improvements, and I know we'll hear a little bit more later in the AGM about how that's landed for people and what differences it has made. So looking ahead, although we're already really halfway through 2023-24, we had to consider what the key drivers and changes were going to be in the landscape when we were setting our goals for the year. And this slide sets out some of those at a national and a regional level, as well as looking closely at ourselves in terms of what was going to impact on our ability and what was going to support us actually and create opportunity as we went forward with our strategy. We engaged early to determine our goals for this year, and many of them have been co-produced as they have been in previous years. And as you can see here, within our clinical services, we've approved them in collaboration with our partners and are monitoring the delivery very closely, both as an organisation, but under the scrutiny of those that were involved in developing them. Did that slide change? I don't think it changed, did it? There we go, there we go, here we go. Some examples from our 23-24 goals for the year that we're currently in. I'll start with clinical services, where, as you know, we've set our aim to be rooted in our communities, and doing this through our community transformation programme, which continues in this year. We also continue to work to reduce out-of-area placements for all the reasons that we know are important. And through some of our fantastic partnerships, we have also worked, the people that we work alongside in our local communities, we're working together to reduce health inequalities, to not just be in a position where we talk about them, but really work alongside people that can help us understand how we can make a real difference to reducing them. From a people point of view, we remain committed to transforming our culture, and that's a key priority, aiming to improve the experience of all who are in team BSMHFT. We're doing this through embedding our staff engagement focused work, providing comprehensive health and wellbeing offers, and providing equal opportunities for all via our Flourish programme. From a quality perspective, one example I want to pull out is the review that we're doing of our organisation's safety culture and our work to implement the new Patient Safety Incident Response Framework, a new acronym for us, PSIRF. From a sustainability perspective, we continue our aim to transform through digital, and we are therefore working on our further development of our shared care record across Birmingham and Solihull. This will enable all involved in an individual's care to see each other's records so that we can provide not just safe but joined up care. Likewise, we are extending clinical engagement in our ICT strategy, our digital strategy and developments to ensure that we make the most of technology in care and delivery. I don't think that slide went either, sorry. And talking of digital, this segues really nicely, I hope, into what I want to talk about next. I hope that gives you a flavour of the highlights of the last year and where we are headed on this one. A new website was also one of our priorities from a sustainability perspective, and I'm really pleased to say that it's definitely green for go. Yes, we have a new website, and we've taken the opportunity to replace the old one with all its problems that people told us about because of the outdated technology. It was in fact over 12 years old, and of course technology has advanced somewhat since that time. So we've been able to develop something new and fit for purpose. It was originally a 12-month project, but actually the team have just fantastically got behind it and have delivered it in 6 months. So congratulations, particularly to our Programme Management Office and to our communications team who made that a reality in such a short time. So without any further ado, I'm going to count down, this is my little buzzer, from 10, and to officially launch our website. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's great, thank you. I hope we'll all get the opportunity to see the benefits of our new website, and that those of you are both here today and are listening online will take the opportunity to have a look at it, but also to let us know where we can improve it, because we're in a period now where we're very clear that there are some things that we could do to make it better. So please let us know sooner rather than later. So finally, I'm going to leave you with my personally favourite reminder of 2023, where for the first time in a long time we were able to recognise the fantastic achievements of individual colleagues and teams at our Glittering Values Awards ceremony in April. It was the first time we'd been able to do this for some time, and we had a number of people made nominations, and a small number of us were able to be as part of that. And I'm sure it will make you all as proud as I am to be part of Team BSMHFT. Enjoy.
So tonight we are here at the culmination of our Values Awards 2023. This is absolutely fantastic, and myself and the exec team and Rasheen were so excited about being able to present some really meaningful awards to people who really deserve it. We're excited to be here tonight and to be able to give the awards out to some amazing people.
Well, good evening, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Foundation Trust Values Awards 2023. It is wonderful that this year we can celebrate in person at this beautiful venue.
Wow, what a night. It's just been amazing actually to see everybody's stories and see people winning these awards. It's just lost for words really.
Oh, it's been a fantastic night. It's been really inspirational to see so many talented and committed members of healthcare just providing a fantastic service, and I think as a nurse and as a manager it's really motivated me to carry on providing like top quality care in the NHS, and just really makes you realise what a fantastic service we work for.
So the Silver Award goes to Ina.
The winner of the Bronze Award is Daniel Wilton. The silver winner is Asia Ali.
And our Silver Award winner is Millie Bunting. The Gold Award goes to Daniel Smith.
So the Silver Award for Lifetime Achievement goes to SSL Christine Donald.
It's been a wonderful event tonight at the Value Awards, and it's been fantastic to see everyone get recognised and really appreciate the nominations. Some really humble people and some really brilliant people in the room. Amazing to see them being celebrated tonight. So well done to all the winners.
honoured and very shocked to get this award. I'm really overwhelmed and I really appreciate it. And the staff at all Stockline are absolutely fantastic. We're all one big family and I really look my job. And this award means so much to me, so thank you.
We've had the most inspirational of nights. We've seen videos from every single nominee that was shortlisted, and they have touched our hearts, they've touched our souls. We will go away tonight inspired by everybody that received a reward, and we will feel really good about everything we're doing in the organisation. There's something about, we think that what we do is just ordinary, but what we do every day is extraordinary. That's what tonight has helped us understand.
Wow, what a night that was. Just reflecting back on it and thinking, I hope they don't show a picture of me because I had my wrong socks on that night, and the stairs were a real trip hazard, and hoping that we didn't have those stairs again today. But what a night that was, and looking forward to the next event in April next year. Welcome to the AGM. It's a real privilege to be able to talk about the look back and the year that the organisation and what the achievements have been in patient safety and quality, and also how we're going to progress in the next year. So if I start with my slides, Rasheen alluded to the NHS having new acronyms, and there's one thing you can rely on the NHS for, and that's its TLAs. So the NHS has outdone itself. So we've gone from the SIF, which is the Serious Incident Framework, and a TLA, of course, is a 3-letter acronym, and we've now got a 5-letter acronym, which is PSERF. But I really want to focus on what PSERF is and what that means for the organisation, because actually the launch of PSERF, the Patient Safety Incident Response Framework, in August last year was, for me, a real, what I can describe as a seminal moment. So it brings about one of the biggest changes that we've seen to how we investigate and deal with patient safety incidents. And why is that? And that's because as an organisation and the NHS, we know that we spend 90% of our time investigating only 1% of incidents. And this new model will look at how we provide the very best investigation, ensuring that service users, experts by experience and families are really heard to from the moment that an incident occurs all the way through to closure. And it does that through 4 real aims, and I've tried to summarise what they are. So learning from serious incidents brings about the first aim of PSERF, which is creating a real cultural shift in the way that we deal with incidents. Secondly, the glue of what patient safety and quality has brought around the organisation is through a new quality management system. And the slides that I'll go on and talk about will really show what that means. But that's about the second aim of the quadrant, which is providing effective oversight of how we investigate incidents. For me, the most important is, of course, our EBEs and listening to our service users. So we've really looked back, we've had a really positive response of over 4,000 friends and family tests this year, of which 85% have shown a real positive outcome. But what we've looked at is where the narrative, the important bit is what our patients and service users and citizens are telling us, to how we really develop really outstanding care. And alongside that, we've really invested and seen a growing in our experts by experience in terms of investing in them as real enablers. So we've trained over 100 EBEs in a range of enabling training, from quality improvement through to actually appointing 5 patient safety partners as part of PSERF. So that third quadrant in PSERF is about compassionate involvement. The final one is the safety summits. So rather than an investigation, this is about how we empower and engage people in really owning an incident at the time that it occurs. So our next steps, we are looking at the launch in the autumn of this year. And with that, all staff will be trained in level 1 training, and then there will be a further rollout of level 2 training. So really getting that ready and our organisation ready for implementing PISA. And a big part of that was World Patient Safety Day. So we celebrated World Patient Safety Day on the 17th of September. And the real message from that and the kind of raison d'etre was that we were elevating the patient's voice. And that was really linked to PISA. In terms of safeguarding, moving us on to safeguarding and infection prevention control, there's another TLA, IPC. Firstly, just really celebrating the success of the new model of our multi-agency safeguarding hub. So we have a new model that's been lead provider with Birmingham Community Healthcare, and we have really formed part of making sure that's really well embedded within the community. Our statutory review process, so there are a number of statutory reviews that we're responsible for, and they range from sudden unexpected deaths in children through to safeguarding adult reviews. As part of the quality management system and patient safety incident response framework, what we've done is made sure that we have a regular audit and cycle that ensures that these action plans don't sit on a shelf somewhere gathering dust, but they're always live and we sustain those actions. So our training and safeguarding, we've seen a significant increase in our training with an 85% target and compliance. Safeguarding supervision, we now have extended our advice line, so we have real-time help for staff who need to have a conversation about think family, which Rasheen had touched on in her presentation, which we launched in November, which really looks at how we risk assess a family and make sure that they get the very best and safest care. In terms of infection prevention control, I'm really going to focus on the celebration. So Zalika and Sue from SSL won an award for the National Patient Standards for Cleaning Care, and we've really seen that in terms of the issues that we've faced as an organisation through COVID and Legionella outbreaks. Again, I am being told I need to move on quickly. So in terms of the quality strategy, we have our 4 aims, and they are preventing harm, using time effectively. And I'm just going to touch on using our time effectively because for me, time is the most important currency that we have in health and social care. It's the most important factor, I think, and connects us as humans. We have around 30,000 days on this planet if we're lucky to live to average life expectancy. So if you're a man who's 79 or a lady who's 82, we know you generally in your last 1,000 days of your life. And that really puts it into context when somebody is detained in one of our hospitals under the Mental Health Act or considered a delayed transfer of care, really how we can break those barriers to make sure that they're at home or where they want to be with their loved ones. I've touched on engagement and the importance of that. In terms of our participation, again, we have really invested in training our experts by experience to form over 60% of our current quality. I'm sorry if I've said something that upset you there. Apologies for the last 1,000 days. I can see somebody tearing up. I hope that was okay. We've seen 60% of our projects have support from our experts by experience. And we've really seen the projects flourish in terms of this approach with 30 open projects, over 30 open projects and 40 that we've now closed. So our next steps around this is introducing our quality management system. Again, there's a theme of the quadrant, so 4 elements of the quality management system, which looks at quality control, quality assurance, quality planning and quality improvement. As you'll be aware, the CQC came to visit us and then we had our report published last year. We make continued really good traction and we've got that kind of real grit and pace behind the action plan. And that's part of the quality management system and the learning from our patient safety incident response framework, how we really embed this as part of the organisation. We'd hoped as an organisation that CQC would have reviewed our Section 31, which was issued 3 years ago. But we're doing a peer review currently and inviting the CQC back to look at that. And we've had an unannounced visit last month, of which the report is still pending. The next 2 slides really look at the importance of us now setting our nursing strategy alongside our allied health professionals. So we know that we've got 1,300 nurses, 123 OTs, 50 occupational therapists, and over 50 allied health professionals, 500 psychological professionals. And really now we're setting the structure around what a nursing career path looks within the organisation. Finally, our safer staffing developments have really kind of motored on this year. We've appointed a clinical lead. We've got a robust now governance process for monitoring safer staffing. The embedding of the professional nurse advocate role, the P&As, has really taken on, and we've now got 11 P&A professional nurse advocates in role, with 5 who are completing their masters. Apologies for the acronym there. The MHOST is the mental health staffing optimization tool, which we've done 2 rounds of, which looks at how we project our staffing based on the needs of the people that we deliver care with. A real success has been internationally educated nurses. So Sharon Neera King from the organisation has been recognised nationally with a workbook of how we welcome and provide spiritual care to our internationally educated nurses. We've got a plan to recruit over 60 with 11 internationally educated nurses currently in post, so a real success for the organisation. I want to thank you for your time. My mischievous side is really wanting to press the buzzer that Roisin did, because she was supposed to take it with her, but I won't. I'll bring it down. I've been stared at here. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
Good afternoon. So I'm going to be talking about the annual report and accounts, really interesting stuff. But just to say a little bit, I was asked about my tie before I came up. Don't normally wear a tie. And I got asked, is that Leeds United or is that Warwickshire Cricket Club? And I said, well, I got it from Oxfam, so don't know. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about is why finance is important and what it means. So why is financial performance important? What does success look like? How do we do? And what does that mean? So why is finance important? And it's about this golden balance between quality and finance. It can never be an end in itself. We have to do both. You can't do one or the other. Well, you can, but it doesn't give you a sustainable position. Good performance means that you're reassuring regulators. Gives you the room to invest, and means you're still in control of things. You're able to do what you want to as opposed to being told what to do. Often it feels like you're told what to do anyway, but it's really important we've got the money and we've got the control so we can do something. Really allows you to concentrate on quality and do what's right for the population that we serve. Equally important, the performance of the entire system in which we work, the Birmingham Solihull system. That's even more important for us. So there's no point us being fabulous and being in a really good position if all around us there's problems, because money gets seeped out, it goes across the system. It's really important that the entire system works and we can flourish together, and we are dependent on the other bodies around us. So going on to what success looks like and how do we do? So 4 real points: sustainable financial position, having cash in the bank, what regulators think of us, and being able to invest in developments and improvements. So how do we do against those in the year just finished? Can we change it, please? Just change the slide. So in the first of those, sustainable financial position, so we broke even or we spent all the money we received. So on turnover of £400 million, we spent virtually all of that. Very small profit, very small, but that's good position, certainly in this day and age. Ooh. We've got £59 million, or we had £59 million in the bank at the end of the year. Difficulty is we're really struggling to spend it. We're constraining what we can spend on capital. So it's really frustrating having that amount of cash and not being able to do anything with it. Regulators consider us a low risk. There are no serious concerns. Steve's already talked about the CQC and warning notice and things like that, but there are no serious concerns, and that's a good position to be. And in terms of developments and improvements, we invested almost £9 million in the last year. And it takes a bit to do that type of thing at pace and trying to agree what the priorities are, trying to make sure we do the right things. We can spend money really easily. Spending on the right things is the real secret around this. And just in terms of how we spent, tell people to press the right button too, of course. Okay, finally, so how we spent the money, my fault entirely that was. So in overall terms, this is a pie chart showing the overall spending that we have over the last year from revenue expenditure. So you can see there the large blue section, that's staffing. And for all mental health trusts and a lot of the NHS, staffing is the biggest single expenditure, certainly in mental health. It's all about staff. You've got other elements in there, but the vast majority goes on our staff. And then something I've done in previous years, why do we have to make savings each year and what does all this mean? Just explain what it actually means, because there's no point me talking about all this gobbledygook unless people understand it and could do something about it. So my job's about making things easy for people to understand what to do. So we've got an example of Tom. Tom's a nurse who works at his local hospital. So this is his overall budget. So on a monthly basis, each month, he takes home £2,000. He's got a number of outgoings, fixed outgoings, so he pays rent, £650, pays council tax, £150. He's got utilities, TV and internet, £400. I'm not sure I'm keeping up with the actual rate of inflation on that one. He's got bank loan payments of £250. He spends £150 on travel, basically getting to work. And he's got a food bill of £300. So normal month, he spends £1,900. That leaves him surplus each month, spare, of £100. That's what we would call a surplus or a profit. But that's what he's got on an ongoing basis. So he's actually in quite a strong position. Now, how does Tom manage his money? He plans to put away that £100 each month, put it away for a rainy day, invest that surplus. He's got £1,000 in the bank for unforeseen expenses. We'd call that reserves in the NHS. He's just heard he's getting a £50 monthly pay rise. Oh, sorry. I'm crap with this, honestly. He's getting a £50 monthly pay rise, and we'd call that an annual uplift. So that's improving his situation. But against that, his rent's increasing by £50 a month. Travel by £10 and his utilities bills going up by £200. We'd call that cost pressures. We'll take questions at the end if that's okay. And as a result of all that, he'd be worse off by £210 each month, and we'd call that the financial gap. So what does he do about that? So how can he stay within his budget? He needs to find a way, this is the various things he can do, so he needs to find a way to reduce his outgoings by £210. We'd call that a savings target in the NHS. He can do that in a variety of ways. He could work on some days or find a cheaper internet provider. We'd call that efficiency or cost improvement programme. It's how can you achieve the same outcome in a different way. He can work some bank shifts. We'd call that income generation. Now that's difficult to maintain for long, so it's seen as being temporary or non-recurrent, we describe that as. He could form a travel club with his colleagues to share travel costs and/or home. Call that collaboration. If he manages any of these things, the bank manager's happy, and that's the NHSE or NHS England. It's the people that hold us to account and the people who would talk to us. But if he can't, the bank manager might foreclose on his loan, and that's called intervention. But whatever he does, it's Tom's problem to resolve. Just in terms of further information, if you do want the full detail on the annual reports and accounts, and I don't know why you would, but if you contact them, you can get them at the website or contact us about them. It's really important that people understand the position, but it's really important I make it easy and understandable. I just wanted I can't really miss the opportunity just to give a plug for the Disabilities and Neurodivergent Staff Network, which I'm the exec sponsor. It's being relaunched at the minute. So we've got dedicated Tuesday afternoon sessions, and we're looking to actually try and make sure, as well as the overall network, give dedicated time for staff with disabilities, neurodivergence, and staff with lived experience of mental illness, to make sure that they can have specific discussions about the things that particularly matter to them. And we're especially keen to attract more staff in that third category. So if you can join us, that will be really welcome. It's about sharing of ideas to improve experiences for staff. And to find out what's going on, you can contact the emails there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Dave. Good afternoon to everyone, and it's my pleasure to present to you recent changes that were made to the Trust Constitution. I just want to indicate that my presentation will be in two phases. Phase one will focus on the changes that were made to the Trust Constitution, and then phase two will take us through the process for the AGM to endorse the changes that were made to the Trust Constitution. I want to indicate that there were three significant changes that were made to the Trust Constitution. The very first one concerns, relates to the provisions around the Trust providing, taking on board the mental health provider collaborative. So the Trust has become both a commissioner significant change relates to additional provisions that were made to the Council of Governors. This comprises a code of conduct and a code of behaviors for our councillors. In simple terms, we're trying to lay down what is good behavior and what does it look like, what is acceptable behavior within our community and within our Council of Governors. And then we also put together a document around the process for appointing a lead governor and a deputy lead governor. That document also sets out their responsibilities and as well as their roles as well. I think the third element there was around the process for investigating the breach of the code of conduct. What is the process and what will be the appeal as well? So that we lay that out within that document as well. And then the third change that we've made to the Constitution relates to the Board of Directors. It also sets out a code of conduct for our Board of Directors as well. Then it also sets out the process for receipt of complaints against the breach of the code of conduct and how investigations will be undertaken and what will be the appeal process. So those are the three significant changes that have been made to our Constitution that constitute the first phase of my presentation. In the second phase of my presentation, I will now look at what's the next step. The very first thing around the next step is that the FT model constitution requires that when changes have been made to a trust constitution, those changes are significant changes are brought to the AGM for endorsement. That's why I've now come here for endorsement from you, the AGM. But great news, the thing to worth noting is that the changes to the trust constitution have gone through very robust governance structures, through the Council of Governors, where they were approved, and through the trust board, where they were also approved as well. So they are coming here for endorsement. In terms of the voting process, which is where we are now, the eligibility for voting are those who are members of our trust foundation. All of they are eligible to vote. These are members, we have their names on our trust membership database. So these are people who are eligible to vote. Others who have come as visitors and friends will not be able to vote. We did also contact families and members who were going to take part with us virtually from home, if they would like to participate in the voting, so that we set out mechanisms and arrangements to ensure that their vote will be taken appropriately and it will count. But no one got back to us with an indication that they would like to vote. So for clarity purpose and for the purpose of the minutes, the voting will be for eligible members who are here present. Those are members who are on the database of the membership of our foundation trust. I've got an independent counting officer who will be able to make sure that we don't miss a vote. So I'll start by asking with a show of the hand. Those who like to endorse the trust, the changes that have been made to the constitution of our organization, please raise your hand. Hannah, please, can you count for us? Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Hannah. And then, those who do not endorse the changes to the trust constitution, if you can raise your hand, that will be helpful, please, so that we can count. That's fine. Thank you very much. Please, Hannah, can you read out the outcome of the voting, please? Okay. So 39 members, I'm pleased to announce that 39 members of the AGM have voted to endorse the changes that were enacted on our constitution, and then one person voted against. So with that, I'm pleased to announce that our constitution changes that were recently made have now been enacted into law and will now be implemented across the trust. Thank you to everyone. If there are questions, they will be taken during the Q&A around this. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emma Randall, and I'm lead Freedom to Speak Up Guardian for our trust. And I know I'm accompanied today by our colleague guardian, Lucy, who's in the audience, and some of our champions who have also joined us. As you would imagine, I have lots to say about Freedom to Speak Up and the work that we're doing in the organisation to improve and make improvements for our speaking up landscape. But that will need to wait to another time, because today is the first opportunity we've had to showcase our new video, which has taken a lot of work and a lot of commitment and dedication from our speakers that have come forward to raise their concerns. So thank you to everybody for making this happen, and we hope you enjoy the video, and it gives you a little snapshot of the work that we do and the work that we continue to strive with the support of our network. Thank you. Hope you enjoy the film. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Phil Gale, and I'm the Chair Trust at the SMHFT, and it's really good to come to speak to you today about our Freedom to Speak Up Guardians. Now, Freedom to Speak Up is an initiative that allows all of our staff, all of our colleagues, to approach our guardians in a confidential way to talk about any concerns they may have. We're here to provide a good, high, safe, quality service for our patients, but also to provide a good working environment for our colleagues and for our staff here at the Trust.
So as a guardian, and put simply, we support workers across the organisation to raise any concern or suggestions for improvement that they have. Lucy and I can only work with the support of our colleagues across the organisation, and we can't be the eyes and ears of the organisation alone. So we're recruiting champions, colleagues that are really passionate about speaking up and helping improve the culture, to act as a role model within their team or their local area, and to listen well and to signpost and to offer guidance.
Sometimes just having somebody to talk to and validate those concerns, sometimes that's all that's needed. But what we would always do is really advocate for you to be able to resolve these concerns locally with your manager. Again, being realistic, that isn't always going to be possible. So we are able to provide alternate routes to you being able to voice those concerns. We're trying to increase our pool of champions so that we have people that you do feel comfortable talking to.
So the reason I chose to volunteer to become a champion is I've worked in the Trust for some years now. I'm still very passionate about staff's happiness, the journey of the patient. So I'd like to think that the more champions there are, the more staff may feel safer to speak up.
For me, being a champion means just to be open to everybody. Being accessible and to be approachable to all that come towards you, for me, is exactly what Freedom to Speak Up is all about.
I've experienced bullying myself in a previous career, so I understand what it's like to go to work with that sense of dread and fear about what the day is going to have. And when I saw the expression of interest, I thought, this is brilliant, this is exactly what we need.
So one of the key values of the role of being a champion is confidentiality. If people want to come speak to me, I want them to feel safe, and I want them to know that it will remain confidential.
I had some anxieties before I approached the guardians because it's not easy to raise concerns because it can have a negative impact on you. But I was able to open up as a result of speaking up. I did not face any consequences, actually faced a lot of reassurance.
Being deaf, I felt that they needed to be understanding of deaf culture, deaf awareness, and how to talk to each other, mainly due to communication. And I think the guardians, when they were doing visits, assured they had interpreters with them, made sure they were doing things the right way, let people know that they were there and available for staff to approach them if they needed to, so that people could feel comfortable to make that initial approach, having their communication needs met. It was brilliant, really reassuring.
I remember when I contacted them first, I was very emotional, very upset. And the fact that they listened to me, they reassured me, they sort of like comforted me. They worried about my health and well-being at the time. And I felt not only listened to, I felt they acted on what I had told them about.
Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for all our contributors thus far that have helped us to understand the importance of freedom to speak up, how we can all speak up without fear of judgment or without fear of detriment. Our values mean everything to us. We want them to show up in all that we do. We want no one to be left behind, and freedom to speak up helps all of us to have a voice and to have a place to share our concerns and our thoughts and ideas about the organisation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gareth O'Keefe, and I'm actually the Clinical Development Lead for the Bipolar Service here in the Trust. Now, the Bipolar Service actually started in 1998 And it was the creation by Sandra George and a group of experts by experience. And its purpose was to develop a program where individuals with a diagnosis of bipolar could actually learn more about the illness, to develop some strategies to manage their mood, but also to develop those social links, because often these are the individuals who are quite isolated potentially. And all of this was actually done in a group format with a group of experienced clinicians. There we go. So now, bipolar is actually characterised by episodes of extremely high mood, and they're out of keeping with your normal experience. But you can also experience episodes of depression as well, and you can even have them at the same time. So it's a really challenging illness, or it can be. So 1 in 50 people in the UK are thought to actually experience this. So there are quite significant potential challenges that may come along. Now, psychological therapy and psychoeducation have been recommended now for some time, but it doesn't in practice really occur that often. That is not a Birmingham issue, that's in fact an everywhere issue. So there are national drivers now to change this, and there's actually some very important work that's happening right here in Birmingham. So a little bit now about what we do now. So we actually deliver the Mood on Track intervention, or MOT. So this is a program that we've done, that we do rather face to face, but we actually also do it now digitally as well. And that's actually why we were Health Service Journal Award finalists for this year. And I would also add that when we did that, we had huge help from the individuals who were in that group, and these were a group of experts, again, by experience, and without them, we'd never have done it. So, thank you. So, the programme tries to make an individual an expert, so we'll go through lots of things. We absolutely love our terminology, so we go through those things. We'll discuss around medication, all sorts of things. And the aim, as I said, is to make them as expert. But also, what we do is we enable individuals to practice when they're in the group. That counts. So when you've done that, we'll offer you 6 to 8 sessions of individual work with an experienced clinician, and you'll take what things you do now that are good, because everyone will do good things, and you take the bits that you've learned from the group and you make that their individualised plan. So it's very much a partnership, folks. When you've done all that, and by this point it's probably 5.5 months work, we'll offer you an invite to our support group and our monthly newsletter as well. And more recently, what we've been able to do is we offer additional psychological therapy as well upon completion of the MOT intervention, and that is behavioural family therapy or cognitive behavioural therapy. So why is this important then? Well, we would confidently say that the people who go through our programme, they know much more. So they become experts as much as we possibly can. They're going to have a range of skills that they've been exposed to and been able to practice. That means they're going to be more confident, they're going to have a sense of hope, and from that also a sense of autonomy. Now, from a service perspective, we know that the people who've been through our programme will use crisis support less. That might be hospital beds, it might be home treatment, but they use it less. And if they do need it, then it tends to be used for a shorter amount of time. So, we absolutely believe we need to get to a point where when you're offered your medication for mood stabilisation for bipolar, you should also receive a referral to either us or something like us. To that end, we've actually been training other organisations in England, and we hope to scale this up because we honestly believe that if people need this, they should be able to access that. So I'd like to just see the time I have left just to hear from some individuals who've been through our programme. Thank you.
As a service user, I feel privileged to have undertaken the Mood on Track programme. The programme itself is fantastic. It has helped me significantly to get to where I am today. It's also been an honour to be involved in the research surrounding its shift to online.
Just finished the Mood on Track course. You know, through a video chat platform, you fear an inability to create understanding, and that just wasn't the case. You learnt so much throughout the time, not only about yourself but about others. It's a great way of showing the basics on how to build a support system around yourself.
Mood on Track is an astonishingly thorough, approachable and effective intervention for the treatment of bipolar.
The incredible work by the bipolar team has opened the door for NHS clinicians, not just across Birmingham and Solihull.
I think that it should form the blueprint across the NHS.
I am privileged today to be able to share with you our new Hope strategy, and that Hope strategy supports the delivery of our trust strategy. Our Hope strategy was co-produced with service users, carers and colleagues using participatory arts-based methods to create a strategy that we hope is recognisable and meaningful to us all. Our Hope vision is for all of our service users, their carers and families to be supported to live fulfilling lives with hope, meaning, purpose, opportunity and choices. This means supporting and enabling people to flourish in whichever way that's important to them. Our Hope strategy builds on the great work of our former Recovery for All strategy, and it's much more explicit about our vision and principles in the following 3 domains. I've clicked early, sorry. So our first domain is health through opportunities. Our second domain is participation in co-production, where different types of knowledge are treated equally and power is shared. And finally, our third domain is experience, and we're being much more explicit about the experience that everybody can expect from us, and also how to tell us about what our services are like to receive. Our incredible experts by experience are the embodiment of our hope, vision and principles, and they generously guide us in the creation of democratic spaces. Here are 3 of our experts by experience explaining exactly what that means.
I guess the proudest part of being an expert by experience for me is my badge, my name badge, my work badge. It just means so much. I haven't worked for 20 years or so due to mental illness, and to be part of something that I get to work on various projects like interview panels, going out in rush hour, doing a 9 to 5 sometimes, putting my lanyard on, my name badge, going somewhere, being part of something, part of the world. It means the world to me because I just haven't done that for so long. It improves my mental health, makes me feel good, and at the same time it's contributing something back into the trust. So it's a win-win all round.
I wanted to be an expert by experience because it has helped me be confident in myself and I can share my other experience with other people. What I want people to know about being an expert by experience is everyone who has a mental health problem can share their experience with other people and can encourage other people to share their experience, and just try to say to people that you can do this and conquer their experience so they can share their point of views and values.
My proudest moment of being an expert by experience is receiving my badge. That was an achievement, you know what I mean, especially from where I'm coming from. And to get so far in the last couple of years of my life, you know, that is an accomplishment. What I'd like people to know about being an expert by experience is, like I've already said, one, the opportunities, gives you confidence, shows you that you can become something once you come through a bad stage of your mental health. They just come into expert by experience for a day, and from there the opportunities just come flooding in. Because the reason why I say that, when I first came to my first interview about being an EBE, they said I'd need a diary, and boy weren't they right. So I've had to learn to use a diary. My as an expert by experience is to share my story to students, to service users, to any organisation or anything that can help improve people that are already in the system and those that are coming in.
Hi everyone, I'm Jazz Kaur, Associate Director of Equality, Diversity, Inclusion and Organisational Development. Listening to all the presentations today and the pride and the joy and the energy, it just makes me feel really privileged to be part of the team here at BSM HFD. So the trust itself, and something that I'm really proud of is the fact that we all really try. It feels like we all really try and we want to make it work, and that co-production that happens. And that's why I'm here to talk about culture. So what is culture? Is culture something that I do? Is culture something that you do? Is culture something that everybody should be doing? Is it something we do, or is it something that happens? It's around us, isn't it? Sometimes we say it's a great culture. Sometimes we say, oh, culture needs work on. There's some materials that I'm going to present to you today that will give you an opportunity to think about culture and actually what role you have to play. Because collectively, we can enable a culture that we really want to be part of. So, thinking about the direction, oh, we went backwards, look at that. Thinking about the direction, certainly not backwards, we're going forwards. The real idea about the principle around valuing each other. Valuing each other starts with valuing me. Through my self-respect, I can respect you. So actually, in reducing inequality, we really want to think about the idea of value me. Value me exactly because this enables the right culture, an inclusive culture, which is explicitly anti-racist, unashamedly anti-racist, and anti-discriminatory for all. So we spearhead with anti-racism with the explicit opportunity of making things better for all of us. And that is to improve access, experience and outcomes for all of our people, whether you're a colleague, whether you're a service user, whether you're a carer, or whether you're a member of our community. We are all sitting in more than one place at one point in time. We are the communities we serve. What does this mean in practice? It means that you think, you hear, you understand me. Because actually, every person wants to be valued and understood. You'd want to be valued and understood, wouldn't you? Why? so that I can have a fair opportunity to take the next steps, whatever they look like for me. Not what they look like for you, but what they look like for me. That means you need to understand me, you need to care about me, and you need to listen. Listen to the words I'm saying rather than the words that you think I'm saying. That's different. That means you embody the culture that we want to set. So, going around to different colleagues and different service users across our organisation, I hear a lot about the strategy and the direction set from the top. Well, we've done that. So Rasheen spoke about it earlier, Phil alluded to it, the presentations that you've seen today talk about our strategy, our one vision about improving mental health and well-being through those 4 key building blocks. So driving change, working together, continuous improvement, everybody loves a bit of QI, don't they? We can keep changing it, the strategy doesn't have to sit on the shelf. And underpinning all of this, reducing inequalities. Reducing inequalities because actually this is where the sustainable improvements can take place. All of the monies that Dave was talking about, if we reduce inequalities, there'll be lots of savings. But fundamentally, why was the NHS built? The NHS was built to be free on the point of access for the most vulnerable, whether that be you or whether that be me. This is embedded within our 4 strategic priorities quite explicitly. So we think about clinical services, quality, people, sustainability. The anti-racist, anti-discriminatory approach is built throughout those principles to make sure that we understand it's everybody's business. I've got the thing in my title, so you'd expect me to do it right, but even I get it wrong sometimes. There's a level of humility, a level of learning about how we actually build this culture that we really want to live and breathe in. And sometimes when we get it wrong, it's okay to say, you know what, I got it wrong, my bad, but mean it and don't do it again, because that's where sometimes we do get it wrong. Thinking about why this is so important, in terms of our population, we've got a beautifully diverse population. In the last census, we had over 1.14 million people living in Birmingham, just over 216,000 living in Solihull. From those, across Birmingham, we had a black minority ethnic population, so a global majority now of 51.4%. And across Solihull, a population, black minority ethnic population of 17.8%. Within our LGBTQ communities, we have a self-declaration of 2.8% self-declaration. Thinking more closely about mental health and the populations we serve, and health inequalities, across all of the people recorded to have serious mental illness, only 47% of those had actually recorded physical health checks. So there's the 6 points around the physical health checks. That just shows there's significant work to do. You might be thinking, why is Jazz stuttering around with all these statistics? Where's all the numbers coming from? How do they all connect? We can't talk about the populations we serve without talking about us, without talking about our actual service user populations, because they're seamless. That's why as an organisation we've joined up equality, diversity and inclusion and organisational development to make that pathway clear. Think about the workforce in a little more detail. As an organisation, we have an obligation to publish metrics around race equality and disability equality. To bring to your attention some of the key headlines, I'm going to share some of the statistics with you today. So for our workforce race equality standard data, the 3 key metrics that I'm going to be sharing with you is our workforce representation stands currently at 39.1%, which is lower than our current citywide population. We made a small increase since the previous year's publication. In terms of shortlisting, so colleagues, when they're putting in applications, you go through a process of you put in your application, you're shortlisted, and then you have a recruitment process in terms of an interview. If you're white, you're more likely to be appointed from shortlisting by a rate of 1.3%. What does that mean for us? It means that in terms of reaching equity, we have a little bit of a way to go. We've changed the statistics since we last reported in 2022, which is great news, but actually there's still a lack of equity between that. And you can see a similar type of experience in terms of career progression. From a disability perspective, we really improved our self-declaration rates. And some would say, well, actually, did we? Well, yes. So if we look at it in relation to the data reported last year, we increased the self-declaration rates from 5.56% to 9.65%. In terms of the recruitment rates, we actually decreased in equity, so going from 1.13 in 2022 to 0.84. One thing I really would like to celebrate is that now colleagues with disabilities have reached a point of equity in relation to our capability processes. And you might be thinking, is that a point to celebrate? Well, actually, historically, when there have been clear disparities, it is. So through that positive action, we can understand and really take forward the fact that when we do try and focus on change, change does occur. Thinking about what we've done over the last 12 to 18 months, I'm just going to pick out a couple of key things on this little metrics that I've shown you here. And if you are interested in any detail behind any of the subject matters, please do get in touch. So the two things that I'm going to pick out here are the Patient Carer Race Equality Framework, of which we are a national pilot site for. So NHS England released a tool which they wanted pilot organisations to work with them on, with a clear focus on improving race equality for patients, carers and us as colleagues across the organisation. And what that has meant is we've been able to support NHS England in developing a tool which looks clearly at leadership and governance, which we've made clear commitments in relation to becoming anti-racist, anti-discriminatory. It looks at clear competencies that support our organisation to improve the access, experience and outcomes of people using our services, but also colleague groups. And it looks at a clear line of accountability in relation to outcomes, access and experience. What that's doing is it's setting the data stall out in terms of transparency and making information very clear. The other thing I'm going to focus on is our approach to a no-hate zone. So over the last year, we've successfully recruited over 1,200 colleagues signing up to our anti-racism pledge, and you will get a badge if you sign up to our anti-racism pledge. And also our LGBTQ+ campaign, which was launched 6 months later, is now standing at 895 colleagues that have been signed up to that. What I'd encourage you to all do is sign up to these, because what it shows is a visual commitment to actually being accessible, to being inclusive, and really wanting to reduce the discrimination that happens across our organisation. I've skipped a little bit, sorry. So thinking about what is it that you can do. Think about your intention, because, oh, something, that wasn't me, sorry. Thinking about your intention, if you add that to your action, we will realise some impact. Centrally, what we're trying to do is support colleagues with the resources. Now, my ask is big today. So over the next 2 months, we're going to be going out across the organisation, and my colleague Zara is helping organise these sessions. We've had a group of colleagues that have given their time, commitment, energy, heart and soul into developing a really useful guide, which we've developed into an anti-racist framework. This framework is something that we're hoping will take us to the next step in improving equality across all of our different sites within our organisation. And it has key headers under that framework. We're going to be going out for your information. We want you to tell us what you think about it. We want you to engage in terms of actually how practical and usable this framework is, with that constructive critique, with actually, will this make the change? And then looking towards January as well, but where we'll be launching our final anti-racist framework. I hope you'll join me on this experience. It's not a journey for me, because I can't currently see the end date. It's an experience that will keep evolving. And I'm hopeful that one day we will all be able to say, you know what, we did our part in making sure that this worked. So I'd urge you all to help, support, engage and give your views. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Jenny Watson. I'm the Deputy Director for Commissioning and Transformation within Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Trust. I'm going to talk today about the Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Provider Collaborative, which was launched 6 months ago on the 1st of April, and it's a really exciting time for us within the Trust, so I'm going to just share with you a little bit of that journey. So the Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Provider Collaborative brings together a number of partners. It brings together Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Trust, Forward Thinking Birmingham, Birmingham Women's and Children's, and it brings together the voluntary sector. And the voluntary sector here are represented through what we call the VCFSE Collective, so the Voluntary Community Faith Social Enterprise Collective, which is made up of 120 organisations working together with a panel of elected members who are working collectively across the partnership with us to inform the decision making that we take across the collaborative. The Health and Social Care Act sets out that provider collaboratives are one of the foundations for the future delivery of health and social care, and across Birmingham and Solihull we're leading that way with going live with our collaborative, which is one of the first across the country, and I'm really proud to say that we're part of that. Our provider collaborative is responsible for the commissioning, contracting and delivery of a range of mental health services across Birmingham and Solihull, and with that comes a commissioning budget of just circa £379 million, for which we as a lead provider have responsibility for. For the Trust, this means we're not just a provider of mental health services, but we're also a commissioner of services as well. In order to ensure that we make the most difference, we've developed a roadmap, working with our partners to look at how we can shape our strategic priorities as a collaborative moving forward over the next 5 years. So prior to going live with our provider collaborative, we engaged with our staff, with our patients, carers, families, partners, to really understand what matters to them and where they want to see that change. What can a collaborative effectively do better together? There were clear messages about ensuring that people are listened to and heard, that there's an equal offer of services and that services are accessible, and that we look at the root cause of people's mental health needs so that we can really understand what's going on and what the cause of mental health is, whether that be housing, social, work, educational, really understanding that need. The feedback from this work actually informed what are our guiding principles and our case for change for the collaborative, and it's a set of principles really which as a collaborative we've collectively agreed to be part of this new movement across Birmingham and Solihull. So we know through working together we believe that we can improve people's experiences and outcomes in the care that they receive. By working together we can have integrated pathways of care which we're all accountable for delivery of. That we can improve accessibility and availability of services and clinical outcomes by using our workforce flexibly to provide the best offer to our patients. The vehicle for the collaborative to operate through is via a contract that is held between Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Trust as the lead provider and Birmingham and Solihull Integrated Care Board. This means for the trusts, we're now commissioning a range of services to support people with their mental health across Birmingham and Solihull, and we hold contracts now with a range of other NHS trusts, voluntary and independent sector providers. Within this new collaborative, we're accountable for the delivery also of Section 117 Aftercare, a function that was previously held within the Birmingham and Solihull Integrated Care Board, that now sits within our responsibility to deliver that function. We're held to account by the Integrated Care Board in Birmingham and Solihull through a number of governance routes, and we're required to provide assurance about the oversight and delivery of services that now sit within the provider collaborative. So what will be different? What's new about this and the way of working? Well, we know that by working together and at scale, we can improve outcomes. We have committed as a collaborative to co-produce, and you've heard a lot today about the work that's already happening across the organisation around co-production, and we're building on that, and we're working with our partners to look at that system response to co-production. How can we be working with our partners across the collaborative and wider across the system to really truly ensure that we're collaborating and looking at those integrated pathways of care? By being part of the collaborative, we have that freedom to think about the way that we use our resources collectively, and we have the flexibilities now to make the changes that we need across the system to improve that offer for our citizens. In order to ensure as a trust we have the right capability and capacity to deliver what are our new responsibilities for a £379 million arrangement with the ICB or Integrated Care Boards, we've had a number of staff that were originally in the Integrated Care Board 2P across into the trust. This includes the Mental Health Commissioning team, who've brought a wealth of knowledge and experience around commissioning and contracting of services into the organisation. We've also had staff from the Section 117 team who undertake the panels and reviews of Section 117 aftercare, and we've also brought in a number of other roles to support with both the contracting and finance responsibilities. I know David touched on it earlier, but as an organisation now, we're not only just a provider, but we're a commissioner, which requires us to ensure we have a separation of our responsibilities within the organisation. And in order to do that effectively, we have now set up formal governance arrangements for us to have a commissioning committee, which is our boarding committee, to oversee the delivery of the provider collaboratives that we operate across Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Trust. We see a number of opportunities as being part of a provider collaborative. It's about looking at integrated pathways, through the lens of a collaborative as a system and as partners, rather through the lens of individual organisations. It's about understanding and recognising that mental health can happen at anybody's points in their lives, and that we need to be taking life course approaches to mental health. We have a real opportunity to reshape and reform the offer around Section 117, improving those discharge pathways, increasing the use and the offer of personal health budgets, and really proactively reviewing patients. We see a huge opportunity. We really value our voluntary and community sector across Birmingham and Solihull, and through the collaborative we really want to strengthen that relationship and that approach. And one of the key areas of opportunity that we see through discussions with our collective and our panel is that we can really look at the way that we commission and we contract with the sector, and we see a real opportunity around better ways of working and supporting those integrated pathways of care. In order to do that, we need to create our strategic priorities. And we can only do that through what I guess we've talked about today, through co-producing, through listening to what people say. Why don't people access mental health services across Birmingham and Solihull? Where can we be better? Where can we do things collectively together to improve people's experiences and outcomes of services across Birmingham and Solihull? So we absolutely need to be having a shared knowledge and understanding as a collaborative around what are the population health needs and the wider determinants. What are people's experiences of our services? Where can we do better? What are we doing really, really well? And we need to be sharing that, and we need to be understanding that collectively to shape where our strategic priorities need to be moving forward. And part of our roadmap is those activities to understanding what that looks like and building those priorities together. So finally, I just wanted to end on the provider collaborative. It's a new way of leading mental health. I see ourselves as pioneers in Birmingham and Solihull in doing that, being one of the first to go live across the country. It absolutely is about improving the experience and outcomes of our citizens for mental health. And it's really about how we do that collectively and not on our own. Thank you.
My name's Louise John. I am the charity manager for Caring Minds, and Caring Minds are the Birmingham Solihull Mental Health Foundation Trust charity. So Caring Minds are the charity of the Trust, and we exist to add value and enhance the service user experience as well as our staff and colleagues' experience. We fund lots of things across the Trust, such as various types of equipment, sensory rooms, gardens of reflection, gym equipment, so lots of really interactive stuff that really enhance the experience of the service user and our staff while they're in work.
So I chose to fundraise for Caring Minds because I'd seen firsthand the really amazing work that SIAS do, and Caring Minds obviously is a good way of getting money into organisations like that that are doing fantastic work in the community. New York Marathon was an amazing experience. It's really like a big party right across the whole city. So thousands and thousands of people running, lots of people doing fundraising for amazing charities like Caring Minds. And it was brilliant to actually meet some people running who've been dealing with addictions and actually talking to them about how doing that activity had really helped them on their recovery journey. So really brought together the work we wanted to do with SIAS and the marathon and the marathon spirit.
So the Memorial Orchard at the Uffculme started in 2020 with some funds that Caring Minds made available for us to plant some apple trees. And that's what it is. It is a very small orchard, but it's here for people to come and enjoy. And there are wildflowers and bulbs and blossoming trees, and it's surrounded by the natural landscape garden that's around us.
The Caring Minds organisation has helped Tamarine with facilitating various events. Recently, the Black History event and also our Christmas Friends and Family. The service users felt inclusive, they felt involved, and it was such a great day. And we're looking forward to the next events that Caring Minds support us with.
So Charity Companion, our team of Charity Companions, are a group of like-minded people that want to help spread the word of Caring Minds and help us do the valuable work that we do. So if you were to be involved as a Charity Companion, you would help us promote the events and help us perhaps run the events. You tell your friends and colleagues about us, and basically, yeah, just come and help us spread the word of the charity. Caring Minds is your charity, and we want you to be involved. There's many ways you can do that. You can do individual fundraising events, drop us a line and we'll have a chat. We're always interested to talk about new ideas. And we've also got the staff lottery. So there's a monthly draw. Every month you can get involved with an opportunity to win. And we also do regular bonus draws throughout the year. So if you'd like to find out about how we can help you, or indeed how you can help us, please drop us an email. Thank you.
Good afternoon everybody, and thank you for watching our brand new Caring Minds video, which I'm very excited about and delighted to share with you today. The video is just one of the ways which we've started to promote the charity over the last 12 months, and just a quick thanks to Ruth Tennant for taking the time out of her busy schedule to not only run the New York Marathon but then also to come and help support deliver our film and be part of it. It's amazing how Ruth mentioned on the film there how she engaged with people on their recovery journey while she was in New York, and yeah, just really honoured that she took time to be a part of our video. And also further thanks to colleagues Rowan Wigg and Richard James for their support and contributions to the charity and also to the video. So, Caring Minds progression in the last 12 months really. So what have we been doing? We've, well, I personally have had a lot of physical presence across the site, which has been amazing and a great way for me to learn a lot about the Trust and engage with our colleagues and service users. We've done many staff engagement activities to find out where the charity is best placed to support our service users and colleagues. We've been in regular communications. We're in a lot more communications, which I'll move on to slightly in a moment. We've utilised the Trust social media platforms, and all of this has generated us giving out more grants and therefore receiving more applications, which has just been wonderful. So we've been able to support more and more things going on. So as I mentioned, I wanted to make a public thank you to the wonderful comms team today for all the support, because I am just a team of one at the moment. So the comms team have been brilliant in supporting us in getting the charity message out there. The more stories have been able to share. We've been present in the colleague briefing, in Trust Talk, Connect, the newsletter, the website and the social media platforms. And I personally was delighted to feature in the 5 Minutes With feature, which I personally love. I think it's a fantastic way for us to get to know our colleagues a little bit more, and I enjoy reading them every time they're put out there. So if you get a chance, read the 5 Minutes With. So some of our relationships and partners that we've been building and growing over the last 12 months. NHS Charities Together is a big one. We sit under their umbrella and we get a lot of benefit from this, which I'll talk about in a while. We're doing some great things with Birmingham Community Healthcare Charity as well. We work very much side by side. Physical side of health and mental side of health come, really well together. And in charities, we like to utilise each other and work well together. The Help Harry Help Others charity, we've got an exciting new partnership coming up with them, and hopefully lots of activities moving forward. And then Holt School, I'm delighted to say that Holt School have again chosen us to be their chosen charity of the year. It's one of my favourite visits that I get to do each year, and I wanted to make a special mention to a special lady, Catherine Allen from Holt School. She leads her year group not only in education, but teaches them amazing values, kindness, goodwill and charity, and she's a very inspirational leader, and yeah, I take my hat off to her. Tough job, but she does it extremely well. We're committed to working with and supporting other charities, and there's so many ways in which we can and are starting to work together that will benefit our service users and our colleagues. So my thanks to NHS Charities Together. We've been able to develop our charity team, which is very exciting, with a new post that's currently out, and hopefully will be in post before Christmas, fingers crossed. We've had the opportunity to further support staff wellbeing, and as I talked about earlier about the staff engagement, it's enabled me to go across the trust and find out what our staff actually really do need from us, from the charity, how we can support, how we can make rest areas better, how we can improve wellbeing spaces. And it's been an amazing experience with my colleagues Mandy and Lucy, and it continues to go, and we will take it forward. We're listening to what everybody's saying, and from a charity point of view, we really hope we can bring some positive changes to the trust. With access to shared resources, with support a wider charity community, and as I said, many opportunities for collaborative working without losing our identity. Just a few highlights from our events. We had a nice event for the NHS 75 at Moseley Hall site, Juniper, which was brilliant. Lots of people came and guessed how many tea bags were in the jar, and lots in the pots actually, and yeah, really good fun. We had free tea and coffee, and we are a small unit at the moment. We can't get out to every site, but we are trying to share the love, and we will get out to other sites as well with our events. And that's Starbucks, who have taken us on for a 12-month commitment. That's Starbucks walking over some of the canals in Birmingham, who raised a significant amount of money for this year as well. A couple of check presentations here. That's the lovely Catherine on my left in the tracksuit from Holt School, presenting us with the money. And then myself and Zara outside Uffculme with a lovely check from Barrett Homes as well. So thank you to those. So how have we raised some of our funds? Okay, so over the last 12 months, the Just Giving platform has been live, and it's been really successful. Lots of people find it an easy platform to use, which is brilliant. So a lot of our fundraisers log on a page and do whatever it is they're doing, crazy jumping out of planes or abseiling or many other height things that are a bit scary. So that's raised us over £4,000. The staff lottery has raised in excess of £10,000. If you don't already play, you can do. It's a minimum of £1 if you'd like to join. So the staff lottery, opportunity to win £250 a month. I get the pleasure of making the phone call each month and telling the lucky winners who have won, and it's again a highlight of my job. So anyone who's interested, please check out the Connect pages. Many other ways that we've raised money: Excellent in Psychology event, raffle and Values Award raffle, just to name a few more. Here's a couple of pictures of myself and my colleague Jasmine Martin, raising funds with the raffle at the Value Awards. Jasmine, I'd like to give a mention to. She supports Caring Minds with the financials and has been a committed and valued member of the charity team for many years, and she's absolutely been my rock since I've been here. So thank you to Jasmine. So how have we spent the money? We've raised it, so how have we spent it? So we've spent it on many things, and I can only choose a few. So one of the ones I'd like to share with you is the Art and Lee art exhibition that took place not long ago. Caring Minds were able to provide the funds for materials to make the work, frames to enable the work to be displayed in all its glory, and host an event to showcase, them all. 140 art pieces were collected as part of the exhibition, and they were amazing. Art can be a powerful form of communication and self-expression for individuals who find it difficult to put their feelings into words. And Deborah Tomlin-Taylor, who works as a senior art psychotherapist at Ardenley, said, "Working together in a collaborative way to create such a beautiful and diverse space was really meaningful, and we're thankful to Caring Minds for making this event possible." Here are some of the amazing artwork that took place. I'll briefly tell you about the videos that we've been able to support. Some of the videos basically give an insight to service users that might have to access our secure units and their friends and family. Caring Minds have been able to provide the funds for these films to be made, which basically help them understand what is behind our doors and what they will be coming into, and these have been invaluable to all. And the last thing I'd like to tell you about is the inspiration among us. One of our service users, Abdi Hussein, he wrote a book. So I came to his launch not long ago that was supported by Caring Minds, and yeah, basically a truly inspirational story written by one of our service users now, a peer support worker. The quote's on there if you'd like to read it at your leisure. So I'd just like to finish by giving you some dates for your diaries. The official opening of the Green Gym at Juniper is on the 10th of October. We're back at the Excellence in Psychology Awards on the 12th of October. If you're there, come and see me. The Christmas raffle is back here. Please come and get your tickets when they're available. There'll be lots of communications on all of the communication platforms. Please take a look. And then we've got Christmas lights and carols. Just one more thing, watch out for exciting news around charities coming together for something very special in Birmingham in 2024. It'll be an event focusing on physical and mental health and will be inclusive and accessible. The future is bright when charities unite. Thank you so much for listening and supporting our charities.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mustaq Mirza, and like my namesake, M&M, I hope to bring some sweetness today. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to speak today. I'm a service user and representative of other service user voices in the Council of the Governor, where I currently serve as the Deputy Lead Governor to Birmingham Solihull Mental Health Foundation Trust. I would like to thank you all for being here at our AGM. After the pandemic, it's great to see everyone here together in person rather than on a Teams. I would like to thank all for the staff who work behind the scene to make it is possible for us to be comfortable and safe. This year we celebrate 75th anniversary of our NHS, which I am so proud to be beneficiary of. The National Health Service, world renowned for being at the forefront of patient care and cutting edge of technology. It's a service where patients can receive free health care at the point of delivery, and it covers a variety of healthcare facilities. I'm sure you are all proud, as I am, to be part of NHS family. The main aim of our trust to improve the mental health well-being of our service user, staff and carers and wider community. To help us, as Rosin said, achieve this, we keep three values in mind: compassion, inclusive and committed During the past year, as a whole council, we have continued to perform our key duties with this value in mind and governed by the way our rule defined in the legislation. The idea that our Council of the Governor is a collective decision-making body. We are determined to continue to represent our member in the future, just as we have done in the past. And as service user, I endure to bring my valuable insight to our discussion as a Deputy Lead Governor. I wish you all very good afternoon and thank you for listening.
It has been a year of change again for us all, and that also includes understanding and adapting to the new world of integrated care systems, the ICS. We are determined to continue to represent members in the future, just as we have done in the past, in assuring ourselves of that we have pushed our ICS to adequately brief governing bodies as we become a more collaborative trust in our ICS by statute. This is because the success of an individual foundation trust will increasingly be judged against its contribution to the objectives of the ICS. Board performance must now be seen in part as the Trust's contribution to system-wide plans and their delivery, and its openness to collaboration with other partners, including with providers through provider collaboratives. In response, the Birmingham Solihull Integrated Care Board has established a Lead Governors Advisory Group and a comprehensive programme of engagement, which includes connecting with governors at local trusts. We have also considered carefully as a governing body how to perform our role in seeking board accountability in this new world. So here now is a dual role for the Council, our duty to consider the wider interests of the whole ICS in our work and the balancing factor of ensuring we perform our role in making sure there is proper oversight of our trust engagement with this new way of operating an integrated system.
Thank you, and I just want to reiterate what both Mustaq and Leona have said. We're absolutely determined to continue to represent members in the future, just as we've done in the past. But at the same time, we do want to change and improve, and do that in line with our trust values. So, as part of being more inclusive, we're engaging more regularly with non-executive directors, not least as part of their programme of visits, which have to our sites, which have restarted post-pandemic now in full. We're also going to be connecting to frontline services by inviting services to present their own stories at each Council of Governors meeting, with the first one due in November. We've also established a programme of training and development as we welcome a number of new governors to the Council, and we learn collectively about how best to perform our role. And yes, we'll continue to press for clearer governance in line with the Trust's committed value. We've really welcomed the new structure of governance support that David briefly mentioned today, and that's now in place. We're convinced this will enhance and facilitate our role as a council and ensure there is indeed clearer lines of accountability and challenge going forward. So it is with these developments in mind that we intend to provide, we're confident we can provide a better Council of Governors, better representation for our members and the public at large, and ultimately, of course, better services and better care across our services. So thank you to all of our governors, past and present, and thank you all for listening today as we bring this part of the agenda to a close. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and to the Council of Governors. As John has just said, that actually concludes the agenda items of the review of all the things that have taken place throughout 2022 into 2023 that BSHMFT Trust have actually accomplished. So this just Leads us now to the Q&A. Any questions from what you have heard today from all of the presentations? There's been a lot of information, but some of you may have some questions that you want to ask. And before I do that, there's also potentially been some questions that have been submitted prior to this meeting, and that's what we asked our members to do. If they've got any questions, to submit them early so that we can respond to them fully. So I will ask now at this moment in time the questions which have come in via our comms team prior to the AGM, if you'd like to.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Two questions very similar in content. Further to the recent case, the Lucy Letby case, how confident is the Trust in its whistleblowing policy and its ability of managers and FTSU guardians to follow the process to ensure that staff are heard and supported when raising concerns? And in the same vein, none of us would want to believe that any BSMHFT colleagues could be involved in appalling incidents similar to the ones we've seen in Greater Manchester and in the Lucy Letby case. However, is the board confident that it could never happen in our Trust?
I will start by answering that question, then I'll hand over to Rasheen to conclude. I mean, I'm going to firstly start off by saying we could never actually give an absolute concrete guarantee that something like that wouldn't happen within our Trust. What I can say is we have a number of governance structures within our organisation that provides us as the board and ourselves as non-executive directors with some assurance and reassurance, particularly those structures being our committees. We have a Quality, Patient and Experience Committee where reports go to those committees, and then we can hear if there are, and actually see the data if there are any concerns that need to be raised. There's also the People Committee as well. And more recently, we've had patient safety incident reports that actually come to the board, and we've had a new Associate Corporate Director of Clinical Governance, Lisa Pym, who actually comes and brings us that. So there's a level of assurance structures within the organisation where we can actually sense check and really check the data to feed that back. So I'm just going to...
I mean, I think clearly it's important that we acknowledge the horrific impact of Lucy Letby's actions on families and on communities and on actually staff who are working with her as well. I think as Phil has said, you know, it's a time for us not to automatically say it could never happen here, but to reflect and to think about what are we doing and what more could we do. Phil's given a bit of an outline of some of the things that are happening, but I think we've heard today some of the other things that we've got in place that we would hope would enable us to pick these up. We've heard about the patient strategy for incidents that's coming into being, the fact that we now have, we've got 5 and we hope to have more, but we've got 5 patient safety peer workers that working with us that we expect to be able to be in that kind of a position. We've heard about the multi-agency hub that we have as well, safeguarding hub, and those sorts of things I don't think were in place in 2016 and certainly they weren't as working as they are now. We also heard through the video and through the work of Emma and Lucy and our champions that giving people more access to opportunities to speak up when they don't feel safe to do so through the other structures that we've got are now being putting more in place. But I think our commitment is that we will continually reflect on what we're hearing, but also on what we might need to do more about through those experiences. And I invite everyone who's listening to make sure that you use one of the avenues that we've got to let us know when we aren't getting it right and when you do have concerns. We use our data differently, and so that enables us to see some early warnings. Some of us will have heard that we had a member of the public here earlier who clearly feels quite strongly that we aren't getting it right for them and some of the people that they come into contact with. And it's important that we listen to what that person and the person that they were people are representing have to say. And we want to give a commitment that we'll continue to do that.
Thank you, Rasheen. So now I'd just like to ask anybody in this room or if there are any comments online. There isn't any comments online. I want to ask any questions, but if there's anybody in this room, after what you've heard today, do you have any questions that you'd like to pose to ourselves? No? Phew, you let us off. You let us off. So that really just leads me just to, again, extend my thanks to Machine and the executive team, my thanks to the board and to the Council of Governors, most importantly to our colleagues, to our staff. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. And also to our service users as well, who really play an integral part in actually helping us to hear what improvements that we can make within the Trust. We're definitely on an improvement journey, and I'm so